and came back, and Constituent Assembly is full of them. And out of 300 kings, nobody's son went to England. They have money. They did not send to England, make them lawyers, make them any thinkers. And the only greatest philosopher of that period and PhD of that period was a Dalit. Who was that? Ambedkar. Nobody was a PhD except Lohiya later. They all studied law. But that PhD in economics was considered to be useless. And non-PhDs were great intellectuals. Now that is a caste law. All of them passed third class law. Ambedkar passed economics in class 1, first class. You read John Dewey's record. PhD, double PhD, again law. For our fortunate thing, he also did law, otherwise there would not have been this constitution. Ambedkar. We don't know what kind of constitution they would have written. Maybe they would have said that God gave us a constitution that last night. And that would have come in the form of Manu's constitution. This is God gave, let India accept it. But Ambedkar. So I then I thought whether any king has written anything as a recorded history. Because if you look at Europe, kings wrote. Even Muslim kings wrote. You know that Akbar Nama, no? And Babar himself wrote his autobiography. Yeah? So, but Shudra kings wrote nothing. 300 people, they did not write about their greatness, they did not write anything. Nor they sent their children to English education. They were not supposed to study Sanskrit. Even though they were kings, their children were not eligible to study Sanskrit. Now, when I was researching about the Shudras, why this fate? In 21st century, in North India, around Delhi, there were thousands of lakhs of Jats. There are no intellectuals. There are Patels who are all over the world doing business, but there are no great intellectuals. And why this happening? Then I found only Shahu Maharaj wrote a record, very good record, as a letter to former governor of Bombay State. And that is the letter I brought here. I'll read a portion of it. What a kind of ruler he was, and whose life he wanted to improve. He wrote this letter. Fortunately, nobody reproduced that. The Forward Press reproduced that entire letter. You can see in Google that letter is available. Now, Shahu Maharaj has started small coffee hotels in his state. And he used to go to that coffee hotels and where only untouchables served the coffee or tea. He would drink that as a king. And he employed Shudras, including his own Marathas, in his own state, even if they can write something or communicate something, which became a big issue. And when he wanted to start schools for all, who opposed that, very strongly? It was Tilak. Shahu Maharaj wrote in his letter how Tilak is opposing starting schools for Shudras and Atishudras. So I'll just read the first and second point that Shahu wrote to the British governor, what he wanted. Firstly, although the British are the rulers of the country, the real power rests with the Brahmin officers who pervade every rank of the service, from the meanest clerk and the village accountant, what is known as Kulkarni in Maharashtra, to the highest offices and predominate even in the councils. There were elected councils. The other communities had to submit to the Brahmin bureaucracy, and their tyranny is beyond description. The grievances of the non-Brahmin communities do not reach the British officers, and even when they go to them, the Brahmin subordinate is past master in part in art of prejudicing his head against the complainant. Under such a bureaucratic rule of Brahmins, the Marathas, he is not talking about dhobis, he is not talking about barbers, he is not talking about. Today, Marathas are the powerful ruling community there. Now, in 1918, he is talking about Marathas this way. He says, uh, under such bureaucratic rule of the Brahmins, the Marathas and other backward communities have to chance to send their representatives to the enlarged councils. No, they cannot. The non-Brahmins will have to wait in favor of Brahmin candidates whose caste men know all the tricks of threatening, cajoling, or inducing them. There is no remedy except communal representation. So he was asking for caste communal representation in election. He's a king. For a limited number of years at least, the elections for the council, municipal, and local boards are instances in point in which a Maratha very rarely succeeds. Secondly, this is very important. He talks about Tilak also. Because in our textbooks, in our universities, Tilak is taught as a great revolutionary of freedom movement, radical, right? And but nothing is taught about Shahu. Nothing is taught about Pule. In other words, nothing is taught about the Shudras. Leave alone Dalits. The entire agrarian food producers, the artisans, the ornament makers, the engineers, the smiths, ironsmiths, goldsmiths, whatever. Nothing is taught in the books. Nothing is there in the books. You verify. Unless you read European books, these occupations don't come into play at all. Are there English literature students here? Yeah. You read words. You read any other poet here. Nothing. It's about them. So what does he say about it? And he is talking about Congress as well. This is not about one party, this party, that party. The Congress agitation forced government to enlarge councils under Minto's speed. The Congress has up to this time devoted its energies to further the cause of the Brahmin bureaucracy. Further the cause of the Brahmin bureaucracy, and the British government has also unwittingly played into their hands. The Congress has closed its eyes to the needs of and done nothing for these submerged classes. And the aims of their leaders are to strive to keep down the masses to perpetuate the bureaucratic rule of their community. Tilak's organ, Kesari, is condemning free and compulsory primary education, and the Maharaja of Darbhanga is opposing tooth and nail in the Council of Bihar any scheme of popular education. Now that is freedom struggle. They don't want schools for our children, primary school. Now we would not have believed if some simple writer says this, right? Here is a king. He was opening the schools. But Tilak is saying no, you should not open schools. And I tell you, I have my own experience. I came from a shepherd community, from illiterate parents who don't know anything except their village and sheep. But luckily, from science, suddenly some English came into my head. It did not come from Christian school, or it did not come from Saint Stephen or Hindu college. Okay. I studied under Telugu medium, and then up to my education is only Usmania, which is not even considered as university by JNU. They think that oh, this Ilaiah, oh, where did he study? They look at Harvard, Cambridge, Oxford. No, Usmania. Then what could be? Why is he speaking here? That's what they will say. All left liberal, right, everybody. I had a lot of friends here, left, but they left the Sudras, the Dalits, the Adivasis, PhD scholars also in the lunch. So they think that these are knowledge does not grow in the villages. Knowledge does not grow in the. They also think that gets produced in JNU classrooms. Yeah, wheat, rice, game, vegetables. If it is a vegetarian business, no, vegetarianism is also grows only here. But no sheep, no goat. This is a tragedy of this country. So what this king is saying is, they were opposing primary schools. Today, all these people are opposing English medium to our children in the villages. How many of you are from regional language medium? Can you raise your hands? Are you suffering or not? Here. Say loudly.
Yes.
How many of you are from English medium? Are you safe or not? But can you ask questions in the classroom? No, in India, we are not supposed to ask questions, whether it is class. But how can a regional language person, Telugu, Tamil, Malayalam, whatever the great language, which does not have enough vocabulary to understand world science, philosophy, how can we deal with the global universal knowledge? Recently I wrote one article in print. You read that. I said all my friends, including left scholars, were saying Sanskrit is the greatest language of the world in ancient world. I thought, okay, it could be greatest language because some books were written, Vedas, Ramayana, Mahabharata. And they said that now it is being killed by other people, and Kancha is also one among them. I never, American was not allowed to study Sanskrit. Marathas were not allowed to study Sanskrit. And shepherds were not allowed. Those who were not allowed to study, how can we kill it? Then I wrote one simple thing. If Sanskrit is the greatest language, from 1947 to now, how many Brahmin scholars wrote modern great books in Sanskrit? How many wrote in English? Amartya Sen says, my grandfather was a great Sanskrit scholar. Okay, great. But my grandfather was a great shepherd looking after sheep. His father was a great Sanskrit scholar. But why are you sitting in America and writing only in English? Sanskrit is a great language. But Hebrew, you know that famous scientific globally known first rank philosopher from Israel. You know who is? Yuval Noah Harari, who wrote that Sapine book, which is the largest sold in the world. It was first written in Hebrew. When Hebrew fellow writes in Hebrew, Greek fellow writes in Greek, Arabic fellow writes in Arabic, why don't you write in Sanskrit? Is it a question or not? Huh? Should we ask it or not? You write greatest Sanskrit book so that They can sell in the world few thousand crores and let India get the dollars. What is Sanskrit dollars? Good. We should get money for our books, right? You don't write Sanskrit, and he is saying they were against our primary education. Now here is a king. Therefore, friends, now we have to think about the Shudras. Unless the Shudras get highly educated in the villages, our production does not change. See, they say that symbol of Indian civilization is book. Can a book be symbol of civilization? What is civilization? Civilization is the material production, right? A simple school textbook says civilization is what you use, what kind of clothes you use, what kind of cars you use, what kind of vehicles you use. Whereas culture is how you use it. What you use is civilization. How you use it, culture. How you eat is culture. Now, whether civilization began with production or civilization began with book, production. If there is a symbol of civilization, it is plow. वो हल बोलते हैं ना, नागली बोलते हैं तेलुगु. Telugu people are there here. गट्टिगा नागल अनंटे ఒకసారి. Nagali. So see, then you have spade, right? I wrote an essay. Read that. Spade is the greatest symbol of civilization of India, not any other book. Book can only reflect that civilization. What was produced, at what time what was produced. And no book can really reflect the entire thing. Agriculture, village, animal domestication. All your books have so far not told. Tell me, all of you were school students. Did you ever study a single lesson in your school on tilling of the land? Yeah, tell me loud. Tilling of the land. Is there a lesson? Or grazing the cattle? Did you study a single lesson on making shoe? Did you study a single lesson on washing clothes? Then how does education come? Now every mother says only girls should wash clothes. Then what boys should do? Sit and eat. Who should clean the house? Sweep the house? Only girls, right? Girls should sweep the house. Boys, boys should spoil the house. We should not sweep. If dignity of labor, if you don't teach in the school, how does India challenge China? Tell me. All my friends want, we should fight China. Yes, we should really fight China. But we cannot fight China with yoga. Can we do that? I'll sit 24 hours and I'll fast. Can I win it? He will come with karate. Or can we fight Pakistan with yoga? They are eating all kinds of food. They are eating. So this problem is, yes, this nation is built by Adivasis, Dalits and Shudras with their labor. I'm right or wrong? This nation cannot be built by books. That's absolutely wrong knowledge. No nation is built by book. Nations are built by people's labor, sweat and blood. And this sweat and blood has to be improved technologically, knowledge-wise through education. And once you stop that educated people who are laboring education, how does the technology change? Why did you wait tractor to be introduced by America? Because our tillers were kept illiterate, if our tillers, our artisans, our shoemakers were allowed to write, they would have written their techniques of making those instruments, one from the other. So one shoemaker was the best shoemaker in Tamil Nadu. If he writes a book on shoemaking, a Punjab shoemaker would have learnt it, right? Is it right or wrong? But that knowledge was killed in the caste itself, that family itself, that wada itself. So when I say this, hey, Ilaiah is mad. How can this Dalit write? They said, you read sociology. I was shocked when I read M.N. Srinivas. He said, agriculture is treated as pollution. Production is pollution. But what is clean? What is pure? Production is pollution. Eating is pure. If production is pollution, nowhere in the world. And these people did not study like me in Usmania, Warangal, Taluka, or somewhere. They studied in Oxford. This is the knowledge you import from Oxford? Are the British people doing the same thing? So, Shahu Maharaj has given us a solution. What is the solution? At that time they were stopping them going into schools. Now they are stopping Shudras, Dalits, OBCs going into English medium schools because they are in private sector. Right or wrong? How many of you in the villages find government schools in English medium? How many? No. Then why? Why? I was asking Nehru. I was asking one day Rahul Gandhi, how your grandfather put English in the private sector and Telugu, Tamil, Malayalam to us who are tillers and cattle rearers and shoemakers. So we were illiterates for 4,000 years. Now we should be illiterates in English. Where do we go? So it is all party leaders' children study in English medium, and we should study in. So if you want to respect Shahu as young people, you have to do only one thing, and you have to promise me that. Go to your states, start a campaign that all government schools must be in English medium. Do you agree? And because of my fight for 30 years, all opposed, all left, right opposed. Kancha is asking for English medium in the rural villages, in the labor children English. How does English come to labor children? English must be taught to only educated professor children. How? Because their parents will teach them at home, teacher will teach at a school. Parents illiterate, no English comes. Then how does Telugu come? How does the other language? Then as to prove them wrong, I started a school in my English medium school in my village for labor children, Dalit, Adivasi, OBCs. Their English is far better than all your Christian schools today. They are challenging them every. Because I told the young children, don't read A for apple, because you have not seen apple. You have not seen apple in LKG. Then teacher asked her what do we teach them? I asked a child, get up a child, third class child. So what is A for apple? He said. Can you tell me one more word? Can you say something? Suddenly one child said, sir, A for ant. Did you see ant? Sir, it is here. Then I asked him, what is B for? B for bat. But what bat they paint in that? Tendulkar bat. When did they see that bat? Village kids, how do they know that bat? They never knew. I said, can you tell me some other word for B? One girl said, sir, B for buffalo. So I said, teach all ABCDs up to Z with agriculture and village instruments. Then English will run away from England also. It will come here. what I call productive Indian English, not non-productive Indian, consumer Indian English, not KFC English or what is that, McDonald's. No, there is village tilling, harvesting. See, unless a language is used in production and in kitchen, no language grows. It's very simple. I was asking a simple question on Sanskrit. Tell me, in how many Brahmin families a mother, while feeding the child, breastfeeding, talk to the child in Sanskrit? No woman was allowed to learn Sanskrit anytime in India. So unless kitchen language is Sanskrit, how does Sanskrit vocabulary go? Can you suddenly sit under a tree and then close your eyes and open up and write sentences? How does language come? Language comes from production, names of the instruments, seeds, plants, animals. People will add up language. Today, Indian English is added up with thousands of Indian words. Thousands of. And villagers know minimum, we took a statistics. Minimum average Indian labor woman and tribal woman knows 400 English words. Salt, milk, water. Nobody is saying palu in Telugu. Milk. Milk rale. Milk आया नहीं आज. दूध आया नहीं, कोई नहीं बोलता. Salt, plate. Tell me what is exactly this word for ticket? So in Sanskrit said dhuma sekata arovan avarohana patramu. It doesn't work because the vocabulary has to increase. So now the Shudras, you all must go back to villages. Tell John, educate your children in English. Let them occupy JNU, occupy Ashoka University, occupy Delhi University, occupy higher places, Jats, Patels, Kurmas, and Dobis, Takalis, Mangalis, or Dalits, Adivasis. Then everybody studies English. If you do a research, write a good book, minimum 10 lakh copies must be sold any book in country. In a country of 140 crores, 10 lakhs is nothing. Today we don't read. Yesterday I was in the flight. I was watching how many people are reading after sitting the flight from Hyderabad to Delhi. 2 hours. Except one small young girl. Nobody had a book in their hand. You go and see in the Europe or in America, the moment they get into the flight, books are open. Now this culture, JNU has not improved reading except doing research because of the cost. They don't want us to read more than what is required in the class. So that is not knowledge. So therefore, on the occasion of Shahu Maharaj Jayanti, who was not a very educated man, just few school-going town, but he understood our problem as a king. We must respect that. Now I was saying, VP Singh was a Kshatriya. And there are a number of Kshatriyas today ruling in this country also. But VP Singh stood by the OBCs with implementation of Mandal. Today you are all here. How many OBCs are here because of reservation? And don't forget, but for VP Singh's fight, we would not have been here. He was a Kshatriya. We respect that. He took a social justice stand. We respect a human being who stands for equality, dignity, and production. And individual rights. You eat what you like without any prescription. And you think what you want. So, I don't want to bat more like Tendulkar from one side. I'm not a good batsman, and at the age of 70, much less. So I'll open up the talk for questions. You also debate. You disagree with me. You say what you said is nonsense. I don't agree. I, I will not oppose you. I will either answer or say that okay, let's both of us improve. Let us read more and change our ideas. So thank you for giving me this opportunity. Then you can ask some questions. So there are some books there, and one of mine is translated into Hindi. That's a translation of Post Hindu India called Hindutva Board. There is a controversy around many things. Debate can happen around anything. There are other books also. They are giving some concession. Those who won't, please buy them.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Now we open for the question round. So anyone who has question can ask.
Shahu Maharaj was a king. That time the huge debate was around Puranokta and Vedokta. Puranokta and Vedokta. So what is your view on that? So was that stand came from impurity or that he wanted to assert himself? What is your view?
No, the discourse around Puranokta and Vedokta is again around the Sanskrit literary tradition. But when I read, see, one problem we have with Indian history and reading is there are no written records by the rulers themselves or the contemporary scholars. And we have no tradition of writing autobiographies or biographies. So the idea of Puranokta is Puranas are one set of Sanskrit books. Vedas are another set of Sanskrit. So Raja Ram Mohan Rai, even Dayanand Saraswati kind of reformers, said that we all should go back to Vedas, not the Puranas or Upanishads, so many other things. My hunch is, everything we cannot predict. Prediction as a social science is possible, also impossible. What is possible from my perspective is if all our boys and girls in the villages, assume that out of 140 crore, if 40 crore are our children in the school level, if all of them study up to 12th class in one language from one end to another end, then in the school teach them spirituality is a reality. In my autobiography, you read from shepherd boy to intellectual, I wrote a prayer for school children. The prayer is simple. In my old school also they do it. Oh God, you created all of us equal. Oh God, you created man and woman equal. Oh God, you have not created caste among us. See, child is doing this prayer. Oh God, you have not created untouchability among us. So there can be a Brahmin child, Dalit child, Vaishya child, or Shudra child. All children will say this. And they say, oh God, you created us to work and live, not exploit. You created us to respect each other. You created us to respect our parents. So you taught us to work and change the nature. So if this is the prayer, because every house will have a culture, but school should have a common culture. So if school is abolishing caste through the mental framework, then this problem of generational fight for abolishing inequality from Mahatma Phule to Kanshiram to Mayawati to anybody in different regions will get reduced. Human beings should not think of always fighting in the streets. Human beings should think of your children tomorrow should study in the school and work with hands, whether it is agriculture or industry or office, with equal dignity, whether man or woman, cook equally, and then civilizationally think on par with anybody in the world. So that the nature of education will solve. My one this thing is Mayawati has committed one major blunder when she was chief minister. If she was to introduce English medium in primary schools when she was chief minister, she would never have been defeated. Because education will tilt the world. But they continued with the same Hindi. Mulayam Singh same Hindi sentiment. Now Akhilesh same Hindi. लालू प्रसाद सेम हिंदी. अरे तुम्हारे चिल्ड्रन को ऑस्ट्रेलिया भेजते इधर भेजते उधर भेजते और रूरल विलेजेस को हिंदी पढ़ते क्या हिंदी उन लोगों के लिए डिवाइन है तुम्हारे लिए इंग्लिश डिवाइन है ये so I agree Kanshiram fought battles on Mandal implementation and Mayawati did some struggle but when they were in power you have to tilt the balance in one ship acceptable ship. So my feeling is, see, for example, as a social scientist, I said, if Telangana state is divided, it will be ruled by feudals for longer time. Now, everyone who fought for Telangana is saying you are right. OBCs cannot come to power, others cannot come to power. But any social scientist should think that his prediction should go wrong. You should predict and it should go wrong. Then change comes, right? You are predicting from a system. So I feel that the Dalit Shudra OBC politics in North India are still hanging around non-transformable agendas. The major transformable agenda is education for children, boys and girls. College education all may not get, but keep them. Do you think that every girl who is educated in English medium in her own village from LKG to 12 will agree for child marriage? Impossible. And after 12, we don't know which mind makes what. All greatest scientists in Europe were school educated. So I used to hear, I tried for MBA, JNU admission in MPhil. Luckily, I did not get. So I was thinking that JNU studied, educated will change India within minutes like that. And many of them came back to my university also. I've seen them. They are as good as anybody else. Not mad like me. Unless you are mad, you can't change. You understand what I'm saying? Unless you be after something serious. Ambedkar was madman. Phule was madman. Periyar was a madman. Buddha was a madman. So my appeal to you is, go to North India, UP, Bihar, even Ambedkar's own state. Let education be in one language for all children common. If they want Sanskrit, let them study only in Sanskrit, all of them. But not English for you, other language for me. So there is for many, caste system is a cancer, right? For any cancer, there is only some medicine, some operation, some medicine. My operation is English education for all these diseases. I may go wrong. But it is that you experiment. Those of you who have very good English, you can write your thesis in any subject very well. Right or wrong? Your English counts 50%. So work towards that. Go to the villages. Your education is one step, but your children, your grandchildren, your future will be in the villages, not in the urban area. Urban India cannot change anything. It cannot discover anything. Village India can change the world. It can discover thousands of new things. Every day, discoveries are happening there, but we don't know. So that is the reason why before AI, artificial intelligence, you bring existing intelligence into education. Then things will change. Thank you.
Hello, namaste, sir. We are very grateful for your presence here. Recently, few member of parliament from Rajya Sabha came here on a book launch, and when they were asked on the question of Hindutva, most of them viewed that only as operation of the minorities, especially Muslims in India. Now, many intellectuals also in nowadays says that the rising tide of Hindutva is kind of maybe a unification of all the castes in Hindus. Many leaders you also know, sir, they use it as 80 or 20. Like all the unification of castes in Hindus should come together against Muslims or something like that. So, as a lifelong activist, sir, what are your views on this Hindutva effect on the oppressed class in India? Thank you, sir.
So those of you desperately want to ask, please ask.
So I had a very simple question. Acknowledging the importance of English language, isn't it more important for us
पुरी काढणं
to
लावली
prioritize
पुरी
and
काढणं लावली शेवटी
improve
सगळ्या
the
ह्याच्यात
quality of education in any language for that matter than to anglicize the
युट्यूबवर टाकतो
already
माझ्या
anglicized system of education?
आता पुढे व्हायला पाहिजे होतं तुम्ही जाऊ दे मला परत
Jabin sir, as you talked about the primary source of learning, I must say that my education came from shoemaking only because Louis Braille, uh, his father was a carpenter and uh, their eyes were broken because of a sharp device while like his pursuance of learning. He was keen to learn. So the caste and disability, the interlinkages of caste and disability cannot be avoided at any cost. And within this Ambedkarite discourse, I was able to learn and I was able to, you know, question people that there were only, if I can understand, there are only two people in the world who have uh, fought for education without resources, and those were Baba Sahib Ambedkar and Louis Braille. So my question is that first of all, this ableism, the Brahminical ableism, is denying the Braille script and the contribution made by Louis Braille, and perpetuating ableism more by introducing the words such as Divyang, divine organ. On the other hand, the people like Helen Keller, Stephen Hawking are being introduced in the books who have been full of resources, and on that time also they had interpreters, translators, and so on. But Louis Braille's life journey has been like he was died just for finding lives for us, for like a source of survival for us. So just my question is just to interlink figure out figure out the interlinkages of caste and disability, and this discourse should not be denied. It should be uh, together with ST, SC, OBC, and persons with disability. Thank you.
Sir, my question is very simple. Like, I want to ask how, like, the states like in Telangana, BRS government is providing economic policies that support the weaver communities or like shepherd communities. So, how do we look at this economic policies that do they really make an impact in these communities, or what is the idea that they want to promote? Thank you.
Uh, Sir, I have a question that in our education system and mainstream education, where the issue of caste comes in, we are taught about the research by the M.N. Srinivas and G.S. Gure, but the outstanding work which has been done by Ambedkar, which is not taught in the this mainstream education system, and that the caste system which he has throughout his life has suffered through and his direct encounters with the caste. But we are taught the education or the knowledge of the those Brahminical system where they do not have the power to uh, destroy the caste system, power to uh, dismantle this whole structure. But still, we are being taught those ideas like this Yemen Srinivasan, modernization, sensitization, and all those. And we do not have a single chapter on caste where the annihilation of the caste group summary, at least summary has been given, and what are the solution of the caste. But still, we are being faced that even in modern India, in progressive India, we are not taught the ideas of the Dr. B.R. Ambedkar on the caste. And I have this question that how to include that real knowledge in the mainstream education system. Thank you.
Well, thanks for those so many questions. I'll briefly touch upon, if I remember properly, because I did not note them down. Now, the question of Hindutva. When Savarkar defined Hindutva, uh, he defined as a radical political rupture of Hindu ideology that Raja Ram Mohan Rai was talking. Because this whole concept of Hindu is accepted by Raja Ram Mohan Rai only for the first time. Earlier, Mughal said that is Hindustan, and but vaguely nobody accepted that concept and applied to the religion as such. Now, Hindutva as a concept, uh, certain elements I agree that freedom it includes, but it also centralizes the question of Muslims, because the question of Muslims, Savarkar did not perceive it as a migrant people, but the question of Muslims, he understood it as invaders, foreign forces coming and converting Indians into Muslims. Because I don't know whether he knew Kerala history and then the business transformations that were coming. Even Aryan question also is related to both invasion and migration. I believe that Aryan question should be understood in terms of migration only, not invasion. Now, given this, what is central in this is to handle the minority question after independence, whether there should be control, over control of minority over the majority. Now, the majority, as Hindutva defines today, is a problematic definition, including the leftist, rightist, all of them call it majoritarianism. They assume that Dalits, Shudras, Adivasis are equal Hindus with Brahmins, Banyas, Kayasthas, and Khatris, and call it majoritarian. Therefore, secularism, non-religious ideology is better than this majoritarian religion, which is against the minority. Mainly, minority question is in relation to Muslim, Central, then Christian. My point is, okay, historically all democracies are going through challenges between right and liberalism at one face, left and one face. Communist phase was liberalism versus left. The whole world thought that communist revolutions will capture all over the world. Till Soviet Union failed, that was the thinking. Now communism as an alternative almost disappeared. So the conflict in democracy is between right and the liberal all over the world. Whether it is Republican Party versus Democratic Party, whether it's conservative versus their own. Here, I definitely see that Congress versus BJP kind of right wing liberalism will conflict. But once Hindutva is defined, not in terms of building of democracy in their own model, there is a problem. Because their model of religious understanding is, I've written this question repeatedly. The idea of democracy in the world emerged from the idea of spiritual democracy. Did you all hear what I said? Spiritual democracy. Now, if your religion does not have spiritual democratic essence, now a lot of people ask me, even write this, what do you mean by spiritual democracy? My simple definition of spiritual democracy is, if you believe in God, your idea of God should also believe that all human beings are created equal. Right? Is that democratic or not? And Christianity, Islam, they are also saying, women are not equal, and Muslims say that women cannot go to Masjid. I don't agree with that. Or God understands only Arabic. No, I don't agree with that. I question that. Or God understands only Sanskrit. I said, if Telugu is there, Tamil is there, Malayalam is there, your own Quran is saying God creates all things, and God created Tamil, Malayalam, Telugu. Why doesn't he understand? Or why doesn't Hindu God understand Telugu, Tamil, Malayalam, or English? Or Christians say that if women is unequal, no, she can become bishop equally. This whole question came from the view that women's menstruation is pollution. You see the main point. I think all women students here must adopt this point. My point is, without menstruation, there is no procreation. Right? I'll translate this into a very simple language. Without mud, there is no food. Right? In the village, in tilling the land, without mud, you can't plant it, right? Without mud, there is no food. If food is sacred, why is not mud? Therefore, menstruation has to be prayed and worshipped, not isolated. Then from there, the question of caste came. Leather work pollution, shepherding pollution, killing pollution. Only prayer is clean. Now, does prayer produce food? I want to know that. So, if food production is God's essence, then Hindutva people have to deal with this. If you are not dealing with that, if only Muslims are your problem, I think you will fail. Because the problem of India's underdevelopment is multidimensional. So therefore, uh, many of them may hate me, but I tell them, you read my books and hate. Without reading, don't hate. That's not good. And see, even for Muslims, my request is give up this idea that women should not go to schools with this dress and that dress. They should go to school as a Muslim man goes to school. That is my many disagree. If Muslim man does not cover his head, why should women should cover and go to school? After all, God created are equal. Therefore, this whole debate on Hindutva has to redefine our syllabus in the universities. That's where Ambedkar comes. You put Ambedkar, Phule, and Periyar and Savitribai in many syllabuses, 50% of Hindutva problems will be solved. Their own problems will be solved, I'm telling them. So, second one, language. What's your name? What's your name? Yeah, Jana, see, the issue is, it is not the question of improvement of infrastructure alone. It is a question of what language, what syllabus you have. When our freedom came, in our villages, single teacher schools were started. There were no mathematics teacher, there was no geography teacher, books were given to children. And children, in spite of the teachers, they became educated, not because of teachers. And I experimented this in my own school. My school, village school has 22 teachers. All of them are Telugu medium, BA, VSCs. They can't speak proper English. But children speak better English than teacher by 6th class. Because they read English book. They rehearse through English. Child learns then better than a parent. That's a very simple logic. Then I told the teachers. One day I called the village parents, gave a small talk to the parents. And there were many women only come there. Men in the evening go to drinking, and the whole day they work, and women don't go for drinking. School meeting. I told the mothers, make your sons also sweep the house, wash the dishes, and wash the clothes. Women clothes. Women were very angry with me. One old woman said, "Sir, what are you thinking? Since we sent our child to English medium, at least he wants to get some job. You should get some job. When I admitted in your school, you want him to sweep house, wash clothes. Who will marry him? Which girl will marry him?" I said, "What is the problem between sweeping the house and marrying?" She said a historical fact. The historical fact is, if boys are sweeping houses or washing clothes, they will be perceived as important. So I told her, whoever is coming to give a girl to your grandson, take both of them to doctor. Problem will be solved. Problem will be solved. See, these are misconceptions. Right now, we can't improve all the schools. All central university professors wrote this. What quality education? What quality are you talking about? Then good infrastructure. Then right now there is no quality, there is no infrastructure. Telugu medium. I said first introduce English medium, then things will begin on their own. Once English comes to the child, he will see American school, he will see London school, he will go to YouTube, she will go to all kinds of things. They'll ask teacher, why is my school like this? London school is so better. Then they will ask their parents, they will ask their sarpanches. Children will bring revolutions without using violence than elders. Do you agree with me? So let us hope on that. So there are many other questions. This, why that scientists, he talked about the solving of the problem. I didn't read that. But the whole question of uh, caste and uh, human caste itself made all our people blind, lame, and incapable. Once abolition of caste is done, many incapabilities will go away. Again, the syllabus, you all should fight for the syllabus. I will tell you one story and short. In 1990, when Mandal movement came, Thorat organized a seminar here. I was one of the inviters. We were very few. Seminar was on Ambedkar. We were just 12 people attending that seminar. No professor from this year. But by 2010, if there is a seminar on Ambedkar, halls are not sufficient. Upper caste professors wanted to come on that. Why? Because Ambedkar changed the perspective. So when I was the lecturer, associate professor and professor, there was no Ambedkar in syllabus. When I became head, I put Ambedkar, Pule. I said, Pule and Rajaram Mohan Rai must be studied in context. Kautilya and Buddha. In political thought in JNU, Buddha is not taught. Buddha and Kautilya. And Vivekananda and alternatively, Mahatma Pule. You teach alternative thinkers. Savitri Bai, and you teach, some other women. No problem. So we should read every aspect and then decide which we agree with, which we disagree with. Thank you all for this patience. I am also very tired. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, sir, for this enlightening talk by you. I would like to read a poem by Savitri Phule, which she is talking about how why Shudra Atishudras should learn English. Make self-reliance your occupation. Exert yourself to gather the wealth of knowledge. Without knowledge, animals remain dumb. Don't rest. Strive to educate yourself. The opportunity is here for the Shudras and Atishudras to learn English, to dispel all woes, throw away the authority of the Brahmin, of his teaching, break the shackles of caste by learning English. We also have an announcement. So there is a national convention on VP Singh and the legacy of social justice. This is on the occasion of 92nd birth anniversary of the former Prime Minister of India, VP Singh. So all of you are cordially invited. The venue is Constitutional Club of India. It is tomorrow at 10 a.m. It is organized by the Truth Seekers. Uh, Following that, there will be a book launch by Sir. That is, the book is Hindutva Mukt Bharat Kiosk, which is also kept there. So, if anyone wants to purchase, can go there also.
Thank you very much.